They will come. If you bless it, they will come.
All right. Father, we thank you for today. We thank you for your mercy. We just thank you for the freedom to take care of our people. We thank you for our veterans, and we thank you for the leadership of our tribe. You be with them, be with our families in this holiday season, and just let us make the best decisions for our people. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Very good. Roll call, Shelley.
Bruce Taylor?
Here.
Joe Deere? Keith Austin? Here. Carly Buzzard? Here. Joe Bird? Julian Coates? Here. Sean Crittenden? Here. Mike Dobbins?
Here.
Brandon Duncan? Rick George? Daryl Legg?
Here.
Jess Snowfire? Laura Katzowski?
Here.
Mike Shambaugh?
Here.
Mary Bakershaw?
Honey.
Theo Smith? Victoria West? We have a forum.
Okay, very good. I'm sure you have all looked over the minutes from our October 31st meeting. I will entertain a motion to approve those. Second. Got a motion and a second to approve the October 31st meeting minutes. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Okay, brings us down to reports. And I'm sure, Chuck Garrett, a lot has happened since the last we spoke.
Since last night, right?
Yeah?
Things are fast breaking, but not maybe that fast. But I do have a different month to report on, so
That's
that
right.
gives you a little news. Thank you, Ms. Chairperson. Just reporting on September today, and last night had given you a summary on August. But September's revenue, this is all pre-audited results, but the revenues from September exceeded our budget by 18% and outpaced our prior year September by over 19%. The year-to-date revenue through September closed 5% ahead of our budgeted revenue level, which was 10% over the same period in FY18. Net income for September, net income came in over 10% over our budgeted level and exceeded our prior year by 2%. On a year-to-date basis, our net income is 8% over our budget and 8% over the same period in FY18. So that is the financial report, and I mentioned to you last night in closing that we had received letters from the judge, the county judge, on 2 different parcels of land in Pope County. And I also want to report that we received the letter of support from the mayor of Dover, Arkansas, which is a municipality just adjacent to Russellville. That'll be important as we move forward.
Significant increase in other revenue from FY18 to 19. Are you prepared to speak to that?
I don't have the details on that, but I'd be happy to dig into that more. But
Go ahead.
but they do, sort of pick up a number of different aspects of the business, and some of them relate to our cultural retail efforts and some of the other efforts that we have. But I'll have to look at that more and be prepared to give you some insight there.
How are we back on track at Fort Gibson?
We are back on track, and so Mr. Dobbins, if he were here, he would be saying, "When are we going to have our event?" And so
You can speak to.
Oh, Mr.
Yeah.
Dobbins. Counselor, I'm thinking about you here, and I have talked to our marketing group to put something together to memorialize the efforts that went into getting the casino back on track.
Anything else for Chuck? Go ahead, Harley.
Chuck, with these letters of support, when will the actual license or when will the approval be approved.
Right. Well, excellent question. The 18th is the deadline for submitting the application. So all operators that are interested in gaming in Pope County have a deadline of November 18th.
Thank you.
In order to apply, you have to have these letters that we're talking about. We are the exclusive holder of those letters. So we should, in theory, be the exclusive applicant. The Racing Commission then will take that under consideration. They don't have any deadline that they're working under. However, none of the tax revenues that go to the state and to the governor who appointed them occur until the gaming starts. So they're anxious to make the decision as well. So.
Now, I know this is a crazy question, but I'm just curious. Like the tip tax exemptions from Oklahoma, do we do any of that stuff in Arkansas?
We haven't, and it has come up in conversation, but it really doesn't seem to be financially feasible for that project. If we do things in the future, we'll take a look at it. But this seems like it's probably not a good candidate for that.
And then I could see probably where it wouldn't be this time, but
Yeah.
in the future.
Right.
It could certainly look at it.
It's
Well,
a
I
creative.
just wondered about that because I know I've had some conversation about Catoosa and that area
Right.
there, and some people are happy and some people aren't, but
Right.
but
Yeah.
I think we need to use it to our advantage in the future of where we can do it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
Okay.
a creative way to finance
Good,
things. so.
thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Go ahead, Mary.
Chuck,
Hi, Counselor.
Chuck, next time you're all over in Russellville and you're headed back toward Roland, we have some signs that are promoting the Roland Casino, and you can't see them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
I do.
The tree top. I was gonna say, either we need to negotiate a reduced rate for those signs,
Right,
or we need to get
right.
somebody in there and trim all those trees.
Those tree lines, there's a good number of those tree lines, the trees are not on our property, A, and B, there's some that are on the Oklahoma Department of Transportation easement, and so there's a process to go to get approvals, and part of it is to get the consent of the adjoining landowner. So we are on that. We have had many discussions, and we've had some success. You would have to have seen it, and obsess about it, like several of us have, to notice. But we've removed a lot of trees, but we have more to go because you're right. There are many signs that just you don't see them almost till you're by them, past them. And there are signs, or most of them are. We own them. So.
I did visit the hospitality in Russellville.
Oh, good.
Lovely people.
Great.
I think they're doing us a great job.
Oh, thank you for that. I appreciate that feedback. I'll be there early next week, and I'll pass that along. They've done a tremendous job, and we've literally had thousands of people come through the door. So they're representing us well. Yeah. Appreciate that.
Did you have something?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
What is our plan with the pond back behind the casino here in Tahlequah?
Well, we have, in part, that is used for irrigation on the golf course. So that's been part of it. Folks used to drop by and do a little fishing,
Right.
and we always worried about a kid falling in, and of course, and it's the safety issues. We, I think, took a barbed wire fence at one point on one of the ponds to try to keep, folks out
Right.
of it. I don't think we have any immediate plans to change what is currently being done, but I'd love some ideas, because
Yeah, because I drive, I think everybody's kind of using that back
Yeah,
way as a
yeah.
bypass. Now, I
Right.
look out there, I say, man, there's a lot of land and a lot of opportunity to maybe develop some sort of an outdoor recreational park, hiking trail,
yeah,
tabernacles, little fishing going on. I know it kind of spitball a lot of ideas, but maybe just kind of ballparking what we could do with that to maybe get some kind of outdoor activity and
Yeah, no,
living going on.
that's an interesting idea, because one of the things we wanted to do is have a walking trail for employees. And,
Yeah.
As we had kind of had some visions on the south side of the casino, some of that area, turning that in over time, of course, but some sort of convertible use where some of it was office, some of it may be storage, and
Right.
some other needs that the nation may have, or others. And we thought, well, the employees, it'd be nice for them to have some walking trails around there, and I don't know, maybe we could incorporate the pond in
Yeah,
some
because I mean,
clever way.
like La Fortune, like now they
Yeah.
have a
beautiful,
golf course.
yeah.
We have a golf course.
Right.
They hike around. You can hike up in that areas too, and that way we kind of get some people.
Little
out.
running trail, walking trail.
Running trail,
something
a
like
little fishing area, kind of some parks, swing sets, things that families can enjoy.
Yeah.
Instead of looking at a casino.
that.
to
Yeah,
go
no,
gamble at.
that's a
Kind of
great idea. I appreciate you mentioning that. We'll definitely put that on our idea
Appreciate
list
it.
here.
All right. Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome. Mary had a follow-up.
Yes, I did. Chuck, why is it, we built a casino in Roland, we built one in Tulsa, we're building one and going to in Russellville. Why is it we didn't build our own hotel in Tahlequah?
Well, it really came down to dollars and cents. We run our hotels primarily to feed the casino and to stimulate the revenue there. We really don't run it in so much for the financial aspect of it. So Roland, that made sense because of I-40, the nature of that traveler. And at the Hard Rock, similarly, you're going there for a weekend, you're longer stay. We felt like it was a better use of capital to ground lease the land for private development, which is what we did. When a private developer builds a hotel near your casino, you get the benefit of having that customer stay there longer, but you don't have to spend your own money to develop it. And that was really the analysis that we did. We didn't think that for us and for the comps that we wind up providing and for the economics of a casino hotel was not supported by the rates that we could get here in Tahlequah.
When we do that, did we sell the land outright or did we lease it?
We leased it. We ground leased it for, I believe it was I wanted to say it was a 20-year deal or a 30-year lease. 20-year lease, I think, with 2 10-year extensions, if I remember correctly. And you have to do that. You have to make it long enough so that the developer can finance it with the bank. And so that's how we structured that. So we still own the land. We just lease the land to the developer. He builds. At the end of the term, that's our hotel. I mean, it'll be 40 years or 30 years, whatever it is, when they return it. But that's how it's structured.
I appreciate you had them send me a picture so I'd see what it looked like.
Okay, good.
I'm appalled at the royal blue color.
You don't like that?
I'm a contemporary next
yeah.
to our casino, which isn't. But-
It's a brand required color. The developer doesn't have a lot of flexibility in selecting colors. If you build, the Holiday Inn, you got the green and you got the Holiday Inn colors, which is why that is the color it is.
Well, we can change it in 40, 50.
Yeah.
Okay,
We'll get it.
thank you.
You bet.
Anybody else? All right, Chuck.
All right. Thank
One
you.
more.
You bet.
Do we have any new recruits for our plaza here as far as restaurants?
We have been talking to a popular, let me phrase this because we're in negotiations, a popular coffee house maybe, to as well as a couple of non-food people for the inline space next to Nukes. Some personal services, nails and things like that. Maybe a national hair, the hair salon is not sports clips, but like sports clips. Yeah.
What about a health food store?
Well, we've had a couple contact us. Usually it's related to CBD or marijuana. So I could lease the entire retail strip to various dispensaries.
So those are categorized as health.
They are, yeah.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
If
Alrighty.
that's it, we'll cut you loose.
Thank you. Appreciate
Next
it.
time. Thank you,
Okay,
Chuck.
thanks.
Okay, next up is Trey Lena Scott, our treasurer. Are you starting to feel at home?
Getting there. It's Cherokee Nation, and it's always home, right?
Yeah.
Right before the meeting, as promised, we're trying to get you guys this information as quickly as it comes in, so you'll have a supplemental packet there that has a few of our, I won't call them subsidiaries, a few of our blended component units, financials through September. So I know you guys just got that right before the meeting, really haven't had time to look at it, but if anyone does come across any questions on that, give me a call and I will help you out as your time allows. And of course, next month, kind of same deal with, so our first close will be next Friday, November 22nd. And, you know, after, I'm not sure if we'll get you guys the nation's financial information after the first close, because there's still, you know, as much as we try to get everything in and done by the first close, there are still adjustments that are made on the second close and so on and so forth. So, you guys have my report in the book. Just a couple other notes. You know, we've already started working through the PBC list from the auditors, and now we have started to get some additional requests coming in from the auditors. So we're slowly, I won't even say slowly, we're ramping up on the audit. So, of course, some of the stuff has to wait until we're closed, but trying to get as much done ahead of time as possible. Some good news that I was able to confirm it when I got these, and of course it's all unaudited. CNB will have another close as well at some point. But we had budgeted for FY19 about 50.7 million for the statutory dividend from CNB. And as you'll see in your supplement, that as of September 30 is sitting at 55.6 million. So CNB outperformed what we had budgeted for, so that's always good news. And then just generally, of course, I haven't been here very long, but kind of looking at ways to streamline things. Something I am prioritizing is cost savings. I think anytime we can get some cost savings is always great. At some point in my career at CMB, I started to just like, every time I saw an expense, I just automatically convert it to someone's salary in my head, and I'm thinking, oh, that's a job for someone for a whole year. I mean, so I'm very cognizant of that, and we've already brainstormed several ideas on how we can get costs down and get more money to the citizens for services. So nothing that's fleshed out yet, but we'll get there. So and that's all I have in case anybody has any questions.
Go ahead, Mary.
Hi, Traylyn. Hi. Traylyn, can you tell me how many of these groups are there within Cherokee Nation that pay Social Security, that we withhold Social Security tax on?
Like employees, or
I mean,
I'm not sure I understand your question.
Well, for example, Social Security is not withheld from us. I was just wondering how many groups are there within, I mean, departments, I suppose, is a better question.
Well, from all the full-time employees, it would be from everyone. All the full-time employees, yeah. We are subject to, hey. Come on in.
Go ahead. I just didn't know.
Well, I was going to say, so the tribe, the Cherokee Nation is not, as you guys know, is not subject to federal income tax, but we are subject to federal payroll taxes. So we have to, by law, have to withhold FICA, and well, instead of FUTA, we withhold SUTA, which is a state tax, state unemployment. What is that? State,
Yeah,
I have a
we're
tax-
actually
I have a tax degree, I
self-employed.
should know that, right?
We're on that
State-
self-insured plan now
yeah.
for the, but tribal council, there was a specific exemption just for tribal council,
See, this is
which
what I
you
didn't
guys
know.
now have the opportunity, which I brought up a few months ago, to vote to have Social Security withheld, and
And that's an
nobody
IRS
really wanted was
thing.
in support of that.
The boards and commissions, the IRS put out some regulations on that, and so there is an IRS regulation specifically talking about tribal elected officials. I could find that for you and send it to you if you want me to.
No, I just didn't know. I was just curious.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
everybody else does.
Everybody
pay.
else. You guys are the only ones that are special, kind of.
Thank you. I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
You're welcome.
On our joint venture, IHS,
Yes.
the drawdowns, are they monthly, quarterly, or yearly?
So we've already drawn down the full 170 million on the loan that we had for the joint venture. So how we're doing it now is as the expenses roll in for like equipment and stuff, we have that special dividend that was set aside from CNB. And so we will get the invoices in, process those, and then we send it's mostly bi-monthly, I think would be average. So where we send to CNB that says, it's basically like an invoice to CNB, and then they send us the money over. So,
Thank you.
You're talking about the IHS portion, though, aren't you?
Yes.
Not our loan.
Yeah, I was talking about the IHS.
oh, okay, sorry, I misunderstood your question. So we're kind of just in a limbo right now on that. So they passed our funding through the anomaly on the instead of doing the continuing resolution. So it's going to be fully funded up front for like the 200 million. So, and that's passed, but we haven't gotten that money yet.
Oh.
Okay.
Let
But
us
we have
know.
started having conversations with the banks about what we're going to do with that 200 million when it does come in, because it'll be a lot of money,
Yeah.
obviously, and we want to put it to best use to earn some interest income off that when we do get it, but haven't gotten it yet. We're waiting with bated breath. Oh yeah, for that we did get we got the 26 million for the when we finished out and got the certified occupancy.
Right.
We got that portion of it. So
Okay, so we've got one drawdown.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
That was for on last fiscal year. So we'll have the 100 million for this year that we haven't got any portion of yet. We got what we were promised for FY19 going into FY20.
Still waiting
haven't
on
gotten
2020.
it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Counselor Shaw, did you have something?
No, that's all. I appreciate it.
Okay, you guys look alike, so.
Oh, wow. I just had a quick question on eliminations here.
What page are you looking at? On the supplement?
27.
Seeing- Okay. Oh, you must be on the other one. Sorry. Thought you were talking about the supplement.
On short, basically, Trey, is what I was wanting to know. Elimination, is that just a write-off? Is that, because it says payments in here on the intercompany receivables and due from parent?
Well, so I'm just going off the top of my head on that, but eliminations are usually were the intercompany eliminations. So when CNB would make there were transfers
Right.
amongst CNB subsidiaries,
Right.
there would be an eliminations column for that.
Yeah, I was just,
portion of
I
it.
didn't know what that was, if that was intercompany or if that was something else.
It's when I was doing these, they were intercompany.
Right,
eliminations.
that's what I was just trying to clarify, if that was what that was, or if it was a write-off, like a
No,
closed off or something.
No. They wouldn't be write-offs. Those would have a separate uncollectible.
That's what I was trying to just to define where it said elimination. So the intercompany thing answers my question.
Yeah.
So, thanks.
Yep, no problem.
Anybody else have questions of the treasurer? Okay. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for coming to our council meetings.
Yeah. I enjoy them. I like to see the veterans getting their awards. Makes me happy.
Okay, up next is Diane Kelly.
You know her reports.
Yeah. That's the majority of the paper in here.
All right, Diane, tell us something good.
Well, where's he at? He's not here. Mike's not here.
He's on. Yeah.
Oh, hi, Mike.
So talk to him.
He's not up there.
Our Muskogee office, we told you that we were going to be moving shortly into a new office in Muskogee. Well, the landlord had some things that he wanted to add to the lease, so Brian Hunt, who works for C&B, told me yesterday that I could go ahead and let everybody know that they hope to have everything signed this week so that we could actually start moving next week, and we could probably have our ribbon cutting open house very shortly. So he did assure me of that. And then the building that we're in right now in Pryor has some mold issues and some roofing problems, and we are looking at moving to another location there in the Mid-America Industrial Park. So that will be happening pretty soon too. We did a report, and I felt like I needed to share this with you. We have over 1,114 clients that we're working with in our department. This is just clients. It's not TANF. This is clients that we're working with in all of our programs. And we were given the green light by our funding agency to go ahead and look at our retail program that Josh Drywater oversees. They gave out 12 grants throughout the whole nation, and Oklahoma got 2. Oklahoma Employment Security Commission got 1, which was dealing with the gas and oil here in the state. And then with us, we put ours just in our jurisdiction. They came back and said, why didn't you look at other areas because of the downswing with some of these businesses that are going out, like we've been told that certain businesses are going out, and there's rapid response teams that are going out and working with all these people that are losing their jobs, and there's a lot of them that are tribal members. But this grant was open to anybody, which was not just Cherokee, but was open to anybody that was on the downswing of high unemployment and as well as the people losing their jobs. So they gave us the green light. Since we have an office in Oklahoma City, which is geared toward our Job Corps outreach, recruitment, placement, they're going to let us work from Oklahoma City back east so that any business that's going out between now and then, we can actually go out and work with the rapid response teams to actually help put some of these people back into training or jobs. So we're going to be looking at any of the ones that come through that are tribal members that really need help, or if they've got children that are tribal members. So anyway, Josh is kind of excited about that. The other downswing on that, though, is that with our TANF program, a lot of the people that are working in that retail program and our opioid grant, because of the length of time those grants are good for, a lot of those people are applying for the TANF jobs, and in some cases they're getting them. So we're actually going to have to backfill some of these other full-time temporary jobs. So I guess that's a good thing because they're keeping jobs and they're good employees, and so we're working with them to try to keep them employed. The case managers have been hired in Jay, Stillwell, Claremore, and Muskogee for TANF, and our compliance officers have been hired, as well as our coordinators. And they're all 4 of them are in training this week. One of them came over from Taro, one came over from the opioid grant, and then the other 2 came over from employment training. So they're all in-house as far as that, and then we've hired some from the outside that have come in to work with us. We also have, I know you're familiar with the fact that the governor is releasing a lot of the people that are coming out of the penal system, and they released 500 week before last. They're going to release more between now and the first of the year. And Matt and his staff have already been getting calls. There's people that are actually coming in, and I want to remind everybody the intent of all of our programs is to help people get training so that they can become gainfully employed, or to help them to find a job so that they can be gainfully employed. And everybody that comes into our office has to have some sort of a barrier to employment in order for them to get in a training program or to be helped through our program for jobs. So the reason I share that with you is because I know that some of y'all have called me about trying to help somebody get a car or somebody to get a driver's license. And most of the people that you're calling me about are people who are actually working. And that's not the intent of our program. If a person is actually working, then they're already employed. They don't meet the criteria for the need of a program that we have, or they're not somebody who is actually addicted to drugs through the opioid program, or they're not somebody who actually lost a job as a result of the downswing for retail. So all of our programs have a specific criteria, and I know that you guys want to help all your constituents, but if we can take an application on them, we can determine if they're underemployed or unemployed. They could be employed, but they could be underemployed as a result of the number of dependents in that household. So when you call us about a referral, let us take an application on the client and let us determine whether or not they can meet one of the criteria for one of our jobs. We're not going to tell you that they can, but we just don't buy cars from people, and we don't put everybody through the DUI school to help them with their license. But clients that are already, excuse me, clients that are already working with us, if that is a barrier to employment and they're going to have to be able to drive or they're going to have to be able to get a license for a specific job, then we may put them in that so that we can help them. We've got people that want to go to truck driver training programs, and sometimes they don't have a driver's license. So we have to work with them on those hurdles, and in some of the jobs that they want, they have to have a GED, so we have to get them in GED classes. So let us take an application, and we'll let you know whether or not they're going to qualify. But bottom line is, these people that are coming out will have barriers, and we're hoping that we can assist them with whatever the barrier is. We have an array of programs right now, and anybody that wants a job can pretty well get a job because people are hiring. I mean, you can drive down the Mid-America Industrial Park, you can drive down the Tulsa Industrial Authority. There are signs out everywhere. It says hiring, hiring, hiring. And our job developers are out there, and we're working with some of those businesses. And some of those businesses have actually extended to us, we don't want your program, we just want you to send referrals to us. So we're trying to do all that we can, but just come and talk to us, and we'll try to figure out ways that we can help you with some of your client needs. Any questions?
Okay, Daryl Leck.
You know, that's something that we should really look into as a council, is offering our own DUI school. There's a lot of money that we spend throughout these programs trying to remove these barriers. And if we had an in-house behavioral health specialist that offered the DUI assessments and all that stuff, that's $150 a pop. Now, if they have to do their other classes, that's on them, but definitely the DUI assessments and the schooling, we got the folks that can do it, you know.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I don't know why we don't do that. It'd be a huge cost savings. We could spend that money somewhere else.
Speaker, did you have something?
Yeah, two things. On those, the correctional people that were released, did we have a way of identifying how many of them might be our tribal members?
It's only Native American.
Matt had asked for a listing, and we were not privy to that information.
Okay.
They just told us that once they were released, that they would actually make sure that if they would tell them that they could go to the Cherokee Nation if they were tribal members, if they so desired. And we have had calls, but we've not had as many as we thought we were going to have. When that next wave comes in, we could be bombarded. We just don't know.
Yeah. On the DUI school, Councilor Legg mentioned, what department would oversee that? And what would it take to look into something like that?
Well,
I think it's a good idea.
We are actually doing that right now with clients that we are already working with. We don't do it a lot. In some cases, we are giving them what we call road to work transportation so they can get to and from. And there's some that have come in and they've had barriers, or they lost their driver's license after they got in the program, And so we have been working with some of those because they're on the verge of graduating, and we want to make sure that we can get them placed. So like I said, everybody's need is different, and for me to sit here and tell you that we do this for everybody, we don't.
No.
We do it for a very small number.
Sure.
But
It's
we
written in the
do
reentry
pay
policy.
for that.
But not
Schooling.
every program within career services, but the reentry policy, you definitely remove that barrier, because it's
Okay.
one.
And maybe we need to put a cost to it and just see, and bring it back to us and say, this is what it would take to do it.
There are provisions within our program guidelines, and that is one of the things that we can assist with on some of the programs, but we have to determine that it is a need. And when we're monitored, we have to be able to back it up with justification.
Okay. All right.
But I'd be glad to research it.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any other questions for Diane?
You get a
Okay.
good report every time.
Okay. Thank you, Diane.
I'll talk to you afterwards.
See you next time.
Thank you.
All right, Anna Knight.
You all have a copy of my report, and I did just want to mention again, the Engage Expo for Small Business is the same day as the Taro Banquet, the 21st, and that Diane and I are working together on a construction summit for construction contractors in the spring here in Tahlequah. In addition, one thing that's not in the report is we've been working with Nora in order to, we applied for and received technical assistance for an inclusive development network that is focused on workforce. And so Hunter Palmer serves on it with me and some other people, and it affects Rogers County, Muskogee County, Wagner County, Mays County, and Cherokee County. And really what we're doing with that is we get technical expertise from some national workforce organizations, and we'll be developing a strategy for that 5-county region that would address at-risk women, unemployed and underemployed American Indians, and then people who have been through the justice system. So it's really a lot of work, and we have to just thank the Claremore Industrial Authority and the Muskogee Industrial Authority and Mid-America are doing a ton of work trying to help us get this accomplished. So hopefully once we get that done, it will make a difference, and it'll be something that Diane can definitely use. Other than that, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Anybody have any questions? That's sad. All right, I guess you got off easy.
I don't think it's too
Too
soon.
bad. Come in here, nobody has anything to say to you. Okay, we move down to our consent items. There was a new tarot list put on your desk somewhere. Got a motion to approve the tarot list. I need a second. Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Okay, community assistance. There was also a new list. I need to add a couple to mine, Jody. I need $500 to Mays County Blue Star Mothers and $500 to Rogers County Blue Star Mothers. And I'll get you their stuff when I get back to the office. King and Duncan has an addition.
I'm waiting on you, Jody.
Okay,
Just let me know.
go ahead.
Sanders Flats Baptist Church, $700. That's for a church trip.
Okay,
Westfield Public School, $400. 4-H.
how much was that one?
400.
Okay.
Marietta School, 4-H, and that's 4-H too, and that's $200.
Okay.
And then Stillwell Public Schools for a history club trip, $200.
How much again?
200.
What was that one for?
It's a history club trip.
Okay. It's not a requirement, but we can put that on there, so. Okay.
Counselor Austin.
I'd like to add 500 for Christ United Methodist Church and 500 for Emmanuel Baptist Church, both for holiday benevolence funds.
And what were those names again?
Christ United Methodist Church, Claremore, Emmanuel Baptist Church, Claremore.
Okay.
Counselor Crittenden.
Jody, 1,000, Safe House Foundation. Thank you.
Is that it? Sean? You good?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Counselor Deere?
500 Owasso Indian Education Cherokee Festival. There in Owasso.
Owasso Indian, what'd you say?
Owasso Indian Education.
Okay.
It's for student cultural activities.
I've already turned in a W-9 on them, because I've got one for them too. So, you've got that.
Okay.
You want to take this or you want me to?
West No Fire.
$1,000 to Woodall Public Schools.
What was the name again?
Woodall.
Woodall.
Wildcats.
You went to 10 Killer, all right?
Rocky Mountain. Adair County.
Rocky.
Okay, anybody else have any additions they need to make? All good? Okay, let's,
Motion to be approved.
got a motion and a second for approval. All those in favor? Any opposition? Okay, law enforcement's next. Doesn't look like there were any new ones. Is that accurate?
That's correct. We didn't have actual report in the book because it was quick turnaround last time, so this is just a updated list.
Look at, okay, so no approval there. The roads,
There is,
couple new.
there wasn't any that went in the book, but there's two that they sent me yesterday. That one had one for Councilor Austin and one for Councilor Buzzard, both out of motor fuel tax.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor? Any opposition? Okay, sports teams. Do we have anything there, Jody? I don't see oh, yeah, there are some new ones.
Yeah.
Okay,
Motion to be approved.
got a motion and a second on the sports teams. All those in favor? Any opposition? Looks like one new livestock.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Motion and a second on livestock. All those in favor? Any opposition? Special projects are in your book. Take a look at those. Chairwoman. I saw it. It's kind of pink.
The very last page.
Hello, Cheryl.
Hi, I did have a couple of additions that were late to that. I wasn't able to get them in front of you today, but they were for Counselor Duncan and for Counselor Deere and Austin. So those are going to be emailed this afternoon, and I apologize for that.
I want Councilor Crittenden.
Go, buddy.
Did I miss an email or something? Sorry.
Regarding what?
Special projects. This is the first time we've ever talked about that here.
So what we
That was
It
discussed, it was
came
during the
up-
budget process,
yeah, it
that was
came
just
up
gonna be reporting
during
items.
budget.
So it's not really a
I don't know that it's really a consent. It's, I think
My
it's,
question was, are we gonna have to get it approved
No.
a month ahead of time?
No.
Okay, thank you.
That's just more of a reporting after the fact process.
and I'm wondering, we've got it listed as a consent item.
Shouldn't be.
Well, technically, sports teams and livestock really aren't either. They're more of a reporting
Right.
thing too,
Right.
so.
Well, what is a consent?
Well, it has to be approved before the money is spent would be an actual consent item, where the sports teams, the livestock, and the special projects are really just a reporting feature, so maybe I'm just gonna ignore those. Go ahead.
I was just gonna make a suggestion that maybe we could add them, I think it would be pretty simple for Tara to add them to the treasurer's report. Just send them to the treasurer and she can add it to her. That way it's out of consent.
And it'll just come in here? Okay, that's fine, whatever you guys work out. But we don't need consent on it, so let's move on to old business. There is none. New business, there is one budget mod in operating. It looks like it's just grants. Is
Yeah,
that
it's just,
correct, Jody?
there's actually, it's just grants reporting, but you can still need to be passed, so.
Does anybody have any questions for Jody on that? Do you have one, Sean?
Not on that, I just wanted to make a comment about our special projects money.
Okay.
If someone's wondering, you know, the council, the consent item of our community assistance fund, we oversee that, give our consent, but of course, everybody knows that here, but admin does oversee our funds and they are watched. I just wanted people who may not, you know, we're saying that's not a consent item. Some people might think that is not overseen, but, you know, administration, we kind of tell them what's going on and they look at it, sometimes yay, sometimes nay, so wanted to make that little comment.
There you go. Go ahead.
My only comment during the budget process was that the Constitution actually says that the tribal council has to approve all donations. And yes, you're approving the budget, but I just thought it'd be appropriate that you're actually, everybody's actually seeing those as reporting,
I like that. Thank you.
So,
So do you think we need to vote on them each month?
no.
Okay.
I mean, they're already done, so it would kind of, I guess it would be, it's more of a reporting process, so if it does become a problem, that somebody sees something that some council member or whatever that could be a problem, it would be questioned, but
Will our auditor
your
be
process is
okay?
already to, this fund is to allow you to go ahead and get those out as soon as possible, and it's kind of after the fact, but still, you're seeing it.
But they are monitored.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
But my only concern was it actually says that the tribal council has to approve donations, so at least you're seeing them.
Counselor Coates,
I'm just trying to cover you that way.
can you add to this discussion?
Under Robert's Rules of Order, consent items are items that you are voting on in the meeting.
Yeah.
And the only reason they're called consent because it's pretty much a done deal that it's going to be unanimous. There's no challenge, no discussion. And it's a group of items that are of a kind, that are
Okay.
alike. So reports probably should be done somewhere else other than consent, right under, rather than being called consent, if we're going to technically follow Robert's Rules of Order. If we're going to technically follow it, is up to this body, but that's,
I would recommend that we just have another tab that says reports, have consents, and then just have another tab that's
Yeah,
for
that's good.
reports.
Better shoot my idea down.
And you don't care either. I mean, I'm looking at you for Robert's Rule of Order, but it makes no difference either way. It's just don't call it something it's not. Is that?
well, consent usually implies that there's a vote
Right.
Okay.
on it, on a group of items that are similar or like, and that will not be contested. So if there are things that we're not voting on, then technically they're not
Right. I mean,
consent
we can
items.
have a separate tab and that, but that way it'll be in the book every month. Everybody can see it and it'll be easy to find if we need to go look at them, so.
Do it, Jody.
Okay.
Do you have anything to add, Tim? You're squirming.
No, I think that's what I was thinking, is that we just needed to break it out into maybe a reporting section that doesn't necessarily require action, but it does document that reports have been submitted to council. Council has seen them, and they don't necessarily need to be approved. The only action you would take would be to accept them. But really, if you have it on the agenda, you might have reporting just for discussion purposes only, something along those lines. That's the purpose of the agenda item. If anybody had any questions, no questions, move on to the next item.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Budget mod. Did anybody have any questions about that? Okay. Did we already vote on that? Okay. All those in favor of the budget mod?
Oh, we gotta read it.
I'm sorry.
No one's introduced it.
I thought we did. Can I have a motion? Motion and a second on the budget mod. All those in favor? Did you have a question? Are you just muddying the water?
No, obviously not. No, I keep the water clean always.
Never. Okay, our next meeting is in December.
Good job, Jody. That's what it was. You gotta introduce the bill before you vote.
December 17th at 9 a.m. Motion to adjourn, second. All those in favor? Okay, everybody drive safely.